some of you guys know Smack. That's my girlfriend of like 7 years now.
She got really cool videos.
Yeah, so my girlfriend, she's a commercial actress and also does social media. She's a creator on.
It's funny because I'd be seeing her on commercials like just from time to time.
I remember seeing a story. You guys have seen it.
Yeah. So she's from Australia originally, and she always used to tell me about this. She was part of this theater group in Brisbane. And I think it's like the main theater group over there that they'll just do like big productions of different plays and musicals.
How to Train Your Dragon?
Well, not that. That's Pixar. She booked that and that's what got her here. But the one there, they would just do local like Australia shows and like, you know, things like Grease or, you know, things like that. It'll just be, that's who does it out there. And she used to tell me about them and she was like, yeah, so when I was part of this group, she had a ton of like, you know, when you grow up around theater people, you tend to have a lot of like closeted gay friends. And then she remembers like her, and these are like her friends that she loves. Like there are a bunch of guys that were kind of afraid to come out because I think that theater group had some kind of connection with the church. So there was a lot of pressure to not, you know, not come out. And that pressure also bled into some of the people that were the leaders. So there was the main director guy who was he was married with kids and everything, and she would always tell me about like, yeah, but that dude was like, he was doing some stuff like
yeah, boyfriends on the side.
Yeah, and they weren't always of age.
Oh, yikes!
And she would always tell me these crazy stories, and I would
mentor.
Yeah, and I would be like, dude, like that's like, you know, that's not good. Like, I mean, she knows it's not good, but it's also super not common, like for things like that to go unsolved, like that it's just a thing in her memory. And then she's got her own issues as well with this thing that'll probably come out later, but a lot of her friends were victims of this guy. Yeah, of this the lead director who was like married with kids and
then he was molesting the boys.
Yeah, and so she had she basically had like made this post on her socials that were kind of talking about it, basically like her memory of it, and like a bunch of her friends were like, yeah, I remember that, and all these people were relating that they also remembered these things happening. This theater group had only gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. So
same director and all that.
Same director.
Wow.
She's over here now, like very far removed from that whole thing. Like she has friends that are still back there doing things, but as far as in this company, she doesn't really, I don't think she has any like closer connections with them. But then yesterday she's like, holy fuck, like you'll never believe what happened. Oh, no. She shows me an article and it literally says, detectives from Hendra Criminal Investigation Branch and Child Abuse Sexual Crime Group have charged a 41-year-old man with 69 offenses.
Whoa, my God.
Why 69?
With
it's an unfortunate number, you know?
I mean, they could have done like one more or one less.
About 60.
But god dang.
They just want to be accurate though.
Facts are facts, buddy.
Yeah, facts are facts.
69 offenses against up to 8 boys.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Between 12 and 29, between 2001 and 2021.
Whoa. And she remembers some of those boys on the list, right?
Those are still her friends today, yeah.
Holy shit.
So they're all finally getting this justice, or at least closer to it.
Wow.
For this thing that she grew up, and also like that had huge effects on her. Like that was, you know, that was her first experience or first like interaction with anything of sexual connotation was this exact scandal. And she, you know, had a hard time sort of normalizing outside of that. Like we would talk and stuff about like, hey, like, you know, that could have really fucked up your perspective on like what's normal. Yeah, or so and like it could have made a fear.
The way that she found out, was it her friend was confining into her, saying like, I've been like assaulted by our director, and then she's just like, oh my god, and that's the first time she heard it? Like, or was it a rumor, or do you know how it went down?
The thing where, like, as she was growing up, like, this was in her early teens, she would just see these things kind of happening. And
What do you mean, like they're making out and shit in front of her?
Yeah, there would just be little things going on here and there, and then little stories. Like, it's like your friend group. Imagine, like, when you're part of your church or something, and then, like, all the members of the church, and you spend all your time together. That's your main thing. And she would just see certain things and behaviors that are coming way too soon before you know what's okay and what's not. Yeah, and she was just her whole like sentiment about her and her friends is they were all just super innocent. Yeah. Like all they wanted to do was dance and perform and just be theater kids. Yeah. And in a lot of like theater cases, that is the situation where they just want to be part of it and perform, and then you know somebody takes advantage and begins grooming, and then you can't even tell that you're in trouble. Yeah. Like you don't even know. Because all you care about is the satisfaction of other people approving of you, and you know, like they build this like weird symbiotic relationship of like, no, I don't want to disappoint you, and then it becomes this thing like what's happened here. And the crazy thing is, I didn't think this would ever happen because she's always been like, yeah, you know, this all took place, but even at the time, everyone was afraid to speak up. And everybody was afraid nothing would get done. If they did, they would just feel ashamed, and that news would be out, and they would, you know, feel disgusted with
They
themselves.
see the director as like someone. Who he probably does have immense amount of power in that industry and
and
leverage, you know.
And that's the crazy thing. And I would always ask her from my outside perspective. I'm like, how much of a fucking denial are these people in when she would tell me that it's so flat out in front of everybody, like. He eventually left his family or his wife, and then just came out as gay and had a partner. And so, like, okay, that's a step in the direction of what, you know, because she always knew, like, oh, this guy's, like, totally closet gay, you know. But then this man continued to be in charge of this theater group, and they continued to operate and only grew bigger. And
so he just molested more boys?
Yeah. And there's more, and the crazy thing is there's more than just him.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. You mean there's other leaders here that are molesting kids?
According to Smack, he's not the only one. And and there is another guy that's
still working there.
There's another, well, I don't think that the whole thing's kind of at a halt right now because everything's kind of stopped for this investigation, but there is one other person who's like a 35-year-old guy that's being charged with 5 counts, and he's someone that she doesn't know. Like, he came later, so it's almost like this thing that's been going on for decades. I mean, this theater company is as old as 1989 or something like that. And
maybe anything that involves kids, it just attracts pedos and shit. Like they want to work where they can get shit like that, because that shit's weird.
Because you see it in every like fucking industry like that, right?
Yeah.
You hear about it all the time.
I mean, the risks are higher for sure. Yeah. I think in theater or in
gymnastics.
Gymnastics, terrible risks there. Shit. Yeah, huge risks in anything.
Wasn't the Olympic doctor fucking
Larry Nassar
touching like hundreds of girls and shit?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's respect and power, and then they don't rat them out too. Like, I'm sure with the theater, when you respect somebody so bad, you're like, oh, maybe. Yeah.
I think that really, when it comes down to her describing it to me, it's a lot of, you know, sometimes in people's heads, the person that's the molester is not always the creep. Sometimes it's the most charismatic person in the room. Yeah. Sometimes it's the coolest guy. Yeah. Sometimes it's the most like uplifting like person you want to be around. And then when no one else is around and you're one-to-one, you get a different perspective of who they are, and you also don't want to ruin the relationship. And it's a lot of pressure on young people to like, especially in a situation where their favoritism of you, it could be celebrated. Like, people go, oh, he loves you. Oh, you're so lucky. Like, the director loves you. Like, you know, it's
a point of pride.
Where, yeah, it's a bad recipe basically. If you have one wrong ingredient.
But that's the thing though, right? Like, guys like that, or just people like that in general, they are predators. They know how to work that game. They know how to like manipulate people, and that's what they are at the highest level, right? They are manipulators. They know how to be in front of people and be charismatic. They know how to do all the right things, all the right notes, but then behind closed doors, they know how to play those heartstrings on the people that they're impressionable to.
Exactly,
The
and
The kids are innocent. In their heads, they might be like, we're in love. You know, like it's a secret love affair that you guys don't ever understand. I'm keeping the secret. Like they're manipulated. They don't fucking know. Until later they get older and they're like, hold the phone, dude. Yeah. That shit was like wrong, you know?
She was even saying that like when she posted this article on her social, and her friends who all like kind of already know this shit, that there's still to this day people that were involved in this that are like, who do you think they're talking about? Oh my god. And there's such fucking advanced denial that it's like they're still willing to say, I wonder who it is.
Even though they were a part of it?
Exactly.
Sometimes denial is convenient.
You mean the victims are denying it, or
no? Just like other people that were in the like collaterally involved.
Well, even from a victim perspective, like imagine there's like maybe trying to seek justice, but like sometimes at what cost? If you feel like comfortable in your skin, like at a later point in your life, to like bring it up or to make something public, you know what I mean, or to like. To even just dive back into that, it's like, look, I spent like half of my life trying to get out of it. Like now it's being uncovered and there's justice to be sought, but at what cost? To even confront it means that everybody in my ecosystem today has to be aware and understand, and you relive it in a more public way. You know what I'm saying?
And that judgment from other people. Right?
Yeah, so it can be probably like pretty just harsh on the mind is all, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, could be.
Mindfuck.
That's what Smack's thing is like. It's pretty crazy to know that like. So in our early years of us being together, that's always been a thing that I understood was like a personal trauma of hers. I'm like the time that she had went through this and like the hardship that it must have taken for her to figure out what was actually correct. And then years later, after thinking, oh, that's just the past, like, hey, if you know, I always told her too, I'm like, hey, like if you're healed from that, we don't gotta fucking revisit it, or like we don't have to talk about it, like it's fine. Like that's, if you're good and life is good, then I'm not gonna be like, go back there and find them and prosecute, like whatever, dude. But she's like, yeah, I think it's good, like we're, you know. And then this happened, it's like, and you know what's crazy is the number is way the fuck higher than she even thought. So that means that like, and now in her mind, she wants the rest of them going down too, because if you don't, that number will keep going up.
Because they're still there.
Because they're still there. And some of them have moved on to other companies in other areas where there's a whole slew of new kids that don't know shit.
It's like the Catholic Church.
Yep.
Yeah, that's different. That's like, you know, unfortunately a call to social responsibility when you like have some sort of knowledge or an understanding that could potentially prevent like harm to like other people, you know.
Innocent people too.
I don't want to self-incriminate myself, but when I was a little bit more on the dangerous side of before JK and all this stuff, when me and my friends would hear stories about things like this, we didn't go to the authorities. We
Allegedly,
like, just for imagination, hypothetical fun times.
Yeah, fun time.
We
JK fun time story.
we returned various favors, and that was a really satisfying point in my life that I was like, this is the type of things that I like to do, and like I felt like Batman a little bit. But then like we all knew and they knew, and I don't know if that stopped them, but at least I know that my friends who got assaulted got their
Retribution.
revenge. And one of our character techniques was to burn eyebrows. So like you knew that people walking around with burnt eyebrows were rapists.
Wow, that's
So after we're this is just imaginary comic book. Like if it happened, you know what I mean? Like I didn't do anything myself.
If like, you know, going back to the scenario, like what would be the weapon of choice to burn off eyebrows? Would it be like a lighter?
Lighters.
Oh.
Yeah.
just like Batman.
At the end, you know, like And then when you saw the guy at school or just walking around hypothetically with burnt eyebrows, everyone in the community kind of knew that they did something wrong to women. Yep. Especially women in our circle.
Right. Yeah.
Japanese Batman.
And that's the sad thing is sometimes that's all some people have, because it's out of the question for some people to go to authorities sometimes.
Especially when you're young, you don't know how to.
Yeah, you don't really know what to do. Yeah, exactly. So
that's what's fucked up, and I feel like that helpless, weird feeling. You know, like you don't have any. That's why it's so important to have violent brothers sometimes.
Oh my God, I would wish there was a Japanese Batman at my school. Seriously, that would be so nice.
Batmanese.
That's a good, like if the teacher asked, "What's your one wish, Jason Cheny?"
Oh, Japanese Batman.
Japanese Batman, please. Yeah, I mean, again, like not everybody has a Japanese Batman or a Australian Superman.
Do they name the guy in the article?
In the article, they do not name him. Not in this article.
Because they're still investigating.
I think that name will be coming real soon. And maybe Smack will come and like tell us more about it at some point. But it's a huge, I think, like, what a milestone in your own life to have a personal, like, demonized era finally come to light. And in this way, like, it was last night that she showed me this shit.
How old was she when she left this company?
When she left, she was 18.
Got it. Damn.
Yeah.
I might take a visit to Australia. You might see some burnt eyebrows.
Oh my God! It's Japanese Batman.